Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to What You Say Anime. I'm your host, Peter. On today's episode, we will be previewing the upcoming winter 2024 season, focusing mainly on new shows, but we will sprinkle in some sequels towards the end. Joining me today in this illustrious adventure is my co-host, Miles. Miles, how are you doing? And what are your initial thoughts on the upcoming anime season?
I'm doing great, and I think that this season is the theme for me. Shout out to Shoujo Sunday. I'm still in that mindset. The theme for me for winter 2024 is variety is the spice of life. I think that there are a lot of shows here that aren't necessarily my cup of tea, but they're supposed to be very good for like what they represent and like their genres and stuff. And so I'm excited to like try those out. We'll be talking about one right away. So
No,
I'm pretty excited about that. What are your thoughts on
for
this
sure.
season?
I'm pretty mild on this. I'm only at a lightweight 19 shows on my plan to watch. That's including shows that are rolling over. So we got shows like, Free Rent, Apothecary Diaries, Undead Unluck that are double core that are counting into this 19 number. So a pretty light season for me. I'm pretty sure that this is going to be probably the weakest season of the year, just because of what I know is coming up for the following seasons. We already got some big hitters up to plate, and I think in this season we really only have one property that stands out to me.
Ooh, I was gonna say, if you count the continuing stuff, though, we know we have insanely quality things in this
I would say
season.
not counting the continuing stuff. So these are
Yeah.
like new properties to this season. I think a lot of times, whether it's a sequel or a new show that's airing, that it has generated like a lot of buzz, a lot of hype to it. I don't really feel it this season. I think it's going to be okay, and I think for some people it might be better than others. But for me, as a consumer who watches and reads in any genre, any demographic, it's just mild. It is a mild hot sauce pack from Taco Bell right now, which is good. I like mild hot sauce
I
packets from
I only
Taco Bell.
I only do lava, and I also haven't had Taco Bell in 10 years. So
Uh, I get it. But the one that I want to lead into, the one I'm talking about, is generating a lot of buzz. If I'm not mistaken, is the most popular webtoon of all time, or maybe manhwa. I don't even know if it's a webtoon. I don't think it's a webtoon. Most popular manhwa of all time. And that is Solo Leveling. I got my little English publication of Solo Leveling here. I bought 5 volumes of it, and I haven't read a single page. So I'm going into this blind. So if anyone's interested in buying the first 5 volumes of Solo Leveling, let me know. They're for sale. 10 years ago, the Gate appeared and connected the real world to the realm of the magic and monsters. To combat these vile beasts, ordinary people received superhuman powers and became known as hunters. 20-year-old Sun Jin Woo is one hunter, but he's known as the world's weakest, owning to the pathetic power compared to even a measly E rank. Still, he hunts monsters tirelessly in a low rank gates to pay for his mother's medical bills. However, this miserable lifestyle changes Jin Woo, believing himself to be the only one left to die in a mission gone terribly wrong, awakens in a hospital 3 days later to find a mysterious screen floating in front of him. This quest log demands that Jin Woo completes an unrealistic and intense training program or face appropriate penalty. Initially reluctant to comply because of the quest rigor, Jin Woo soon finds that he just may transform himself into one of the most fearsome hunters. Coming into this, I've known people who have read hundreds of manga, hundreds of webtoons, hundreds of manhwa, hundreds of anime, and Solo Leveling is their favorite thing of all time. There are people like that out there. So because of the initial hype that I know through some of my connections, I'm more hyped for this than I think I initially would, because the premise seems a little generic power fantasy style where the my level 1 cheat skill in another world made me super powerful and I get the harem. Like, those style of isekai or fantasy shows are a dime a dozen. But with this, because of what I've heard from the public, from the people, some of the art that I saw on that when I breezed through, I didn't read it, but when I breezed through, the art looked really good. It made me a little bit more excited than just your typical generic fantasy. I'm a little concerned with it being maybe a little too shonen meathead for me. just because I know it's called solo leveling, and I think he gets his power from just like killing a bunch of shit. So we will be finding out shortly. I know that the first 2 episodes already aired to some people, depending on where you lived. Shout out to listener Dan. He went to the solo leveling premiere in LA, so that was super cool. But I'm intrigued to see what other people think of solo leveling. Miles, what are your thoughts on solo leveling?
Yeah, so not my typical style of show, but like you, I've heard, great things from people. And it's not a style of show that I inherently hate. It's just I don't like the execution on a lot of them. But I think a few things might make this a little more interesting. Like one, I think because it's like Korean of origin, that perhaps it's going to be a little free from the normal tropes we see in
That's a good point.
these normal, like, oh, I'm the world's strongest person too. It sounds like he's going to power scale insanely, but it does sound like there might be some learning involved in this. Like he's gonna end up on top, but like we get to see the journey. He's not just gonna like come into the world and be like, "Oh, I brought a cell phone. That means I'm the world's best tactician or whatever."
God,
So
you just had to bring that up, didn't you?
I sorry.
No, you're good.
I mean, how did he have
3
perception?
people will get that joke, but it's a good one.
There's 2 anime that do that exact thing, and 3 people will get it,
And they're both terrible.
but one's much worse than the other. This in my opinion, at
No,
least,
you're
I
right,
don't.
you're right.
I like one of them at least has animation. Like, but yeah. So I'm excited to watch this. There's I've been reading some like lit RPG books lately, like books, which are pretty similar in
Nerd.
I know concept to this. So there's a series called like the Cradle series, and it's like this guy who's like the weakest person in his town. He like learns about this training regimen and like goes through it. And I not normally my cup of tea. Love that series because the characters are amazing and the dialogue is amazing. So I think as long as there's enough challenge, we see enough character growth and all of that, it's going to be great. I think So who's doing it? Do you know?
It's A1 Pictures. So
Okay, so we have a wide range of outcomes here.
yeah,
I imagine they'll give this their A1 game.
yeah, they'll probably give them like the 86 team, something along those lines. Or
Well, A1 did
they
86.
did.
What a range of shows A1 Pictures does, because 86 is good looking.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Good looking show.
yeah. The same year they did Kaguya, and then 86 season 2.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Wow, that's crazy.
Licorice,
I mean, they really
Licorice Recoil. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So do you know how they like are? This is a bit of a tangent, but like, do they have like an A team and a B team? Do you know?
They're a pretty big studio. It wouldn't
Mhm.
surprise me if they did. The only like real team structure that I know about is MAPPA, just because of how in the news that they are, that I know like that they have an A, B, and C team.
Okay.
A1, I would guess, for the size that they have and the amount of work that they put out, I would guess that they have probably something along the lines of an A and a B team.
Oh, because wait, they also did Mashal. It looks like.
Did they? Okay. Because I guess
Or
like thinking
yeah,
of like RPG style elements, they did the SAO progressive movies, which
which are good.
yeah, they're solid. Yeah, they're not bad. So
Well, at least animation I thought was
yeah,
really strong. I guess I was just thinking like, because like one thing I didn't like about Mashal was that it looked ugly.
I don't know if that's A1's fault, because I think the manga is also ugly. So
Also, it was the One Punch Man manga, right? Or the webtoon or
the
whatever.
webtoon is the manga's
Is that
actually
okay?
the manga's actually like god tier. Like,
Oh, is it?
yeah,
Okay.
it's like insane how good the One Punch Man manga is compared to the web novel. But things that like airing right now, like things with like Shangri-La, that I'm gonna compare it to, where yeah, even though I know that's like VR style augmented reality, it's kind of like the same similar premise, where I think we're gonna have like this MC starting off or whatever, trained to be the best, and then he becomes probably one of the best hunters, I guess, in this scenario. Except for in this one, it seems like there's like a real threat. It's not a game like if you die type of thing. And so that makes me more interested in this style of fantasy like combat, I guess. It is 2 core. I believe it was announced it was 2 core. So getting multiple episodes, and there's just a lot of money coming into this because of how big of a property this is. this is like a massive deal in Korea. So I have a lot of expectations going into this. And yeah, I think that for me, I think just because of the hype, this is going to be a must watch. But I don't think that this is going to be as good as people. It's hard to say, but like I think it's going to be really good, but I don't think it's going to be as hype as or as prominent as people think it's going to be. If that makes sense, because of it's a manhwa and like Tower of God is like a huge deal in Korea. And when we got the anime, even though I think it got mixed reviews, I loved it. It didn't hit as big as I think a lot of people thought, and I think Soul Leveling is going to be maybe a step above Tower of God, but still not quite the level of I think what people think it's going to be. So, what about you? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't know why I'm as optimistic about this. I expect this to be like very fun and to have like drama filled fights and everything. You know what I mean? I feel like people like love that. I think that as long as it's good, it's big enough that people will watch it. And if people watch it and it's good, I expect it to sort of take off.
I also will say I think Crunchyroll is putting a lot of money behind like the promotion and advertising on this. So I think it is going to be pushed down our throats a lot starting in January. So just be on the lookout for that. I think that they're going to be marketing this heavy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I suspect. I don't know. I have like friends who are they're not like weeby, right? Like they're not listening to anime podcasts or
They
whatever,
should.
or they should. Don't listen. But they know about solo leveling. You know what I mean? So it definitely has some like I don't know people who only tune in for like JJK Attack on Titan sort of shows. I think might be interested in solo leveling, which I think would help give it a pretty big boost.
For sure. What would you put this in like your must watch, consider it type of range?
I think, like, especially for this season, which I think we both agree is a little lighter, I would put this in like a must watch. And I do. I genuinely think everyone should just check this out because of how popular in its genre it is for like manhwa and everything. Like you might not like it, but I think that when something this big comes out, you have to sort of give it a shot.
Yeah. I feel like when Tower of God got announced and it had like that hype where it's like, holy shit, like we're getting manhwa adapted into anime, like this is such a big deal. And then it dropped, and then it was like, I think it got like, to me, it felt like half the people that said that they were going to watch it actually watched it, type of thing.
I remember it being a kind of a big deal. Like, I don't know if I'm remembering correctly, though, because it was a while ago now. But especially with that moment, at like the end, like that got like a ton of play.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The
There was like a lot of content on that.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I mean, maybe I'm like misremembering it, but to me, I maybe it's just because I think the reception of the show, because like for reference, it has like a 7.55 on Mal. And I think the manhwa is like really close to like I think it's like an 8.4, so like an entire point lower. So like when you have like its source material being a point lower than that on Mal, I think that kind of puts people off. But I think that's enough for Soul Leveling. Should we move on to our next show that we're going to talk about?
yes, and I get to discuss that. And 8.4 for Tower of God manhwa.
Close enough.
Yeah, well, 3.8. I don't know what you said exactly, so maybe that's good. So I have the pleasure of talking about a Studio Trigger show, and this is an interesting choice for them, I guess, but Delicious in Dungeon. So after the Golden Kingdom is sunk underground by an insane magician, its king emerges, promising all of his treasure to any who defeat the magician before crumbling to dust. Guilds are spurred on by this promise, traversing the labyrinth dungeon in search of the magician. Oh, there's a lot of multi-syllable words here. I'm having a hard time. Give me a second.
Sound it out. You got this.
Laos, the leader of one such guild, encounters a dragon that wipes out his party and devours his sister. Oh, rip Fallon. Despite having lost the entirety of their supplies and belongings, Laos, along with Marcil, an elven healer, Chilchuck, a halfling thief, immediately re-enter the dungeon, determined to save Fallon.
She's not dead.
Okay.
She got eaten by a dragon.
Got eaten by it, but she's alive.
Correct.
Okay. It's like a Jonah sort of scenario, but with a dragon.
But with a dragon.
Yeah. Time being of the essence, Lao suggests the taboo of eating the monsters of the dungeon as a means of gathering supplies. Upon the preparation of their first meal in the dungeon, they are stopped by an on-looking dwarf named Senshi, an enthusiast of monster cooking. He helps them prepare their monster ingredients for safe consumption. After learning of Laos's circumstance, Senshi expresses his desire to cook a dragon and join their guild, thus beginning the food-filled foray, that's fun, into the dungeon together. So, Pete, this is your jam, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought.
You want me to start?
Yeah, I know that I'm the thing, but I think this is just such a you thing that I want to kick it to you.
Got another one here. Got my manga ready for it. Big fan.
Have you read this one?
I have read. So here's the thing with Delicious in Dungeon. I started reading it. I got through like 5-6 volumes, and the entire time I was thinking in my head was, this is really good, but I think this would be way better as an anime. And then the anime got announced, and I dropped reading the manga. I was just like, fantastic. My dreams have come true. Huge fan of this. I love, if you're a fan of like cooking anime and also like fantasy and adventure, this is like right up your alley. If you saw like Campfire Cooking in Another World, think that with a little bit more action. So like the premise revolves around them scouring this dungeon. However, when you're it's in like a, like Paris style catacomb dungeon where it's just like mazes and all of this stuff. It's humongous. So you can't just like go to like your local general store and buy supplies. Sometimes you get stuck fighting a wyvern and you kill it and you're hungry. So we're having wyvern soup for dinner tonight. And they go through like the recipes for cooking the animals that they, or whatever, the monster that they have, and like illustrious detail. It's super fun. It's fun to play along with it. It reminds me like a mix of like the goofiness of like a Konosuba party, where you have that funny style adventuring with the cooking elements of just like insert cooking anime, but with the action of, it's like a fun, I guess Konosuba has some like fun action. Like the action's like,
yeah,
like yeah, they're fighting like big monsters, but like it's like silly and fun and stupid at points where they're just like,
that slime fight was fun in Konosuba.
Yeah,
right? Like, is it similar to that?
It's still like, they're delving into tactics or whatever. It's like, oh, I accidentally like slipped on a banana peel and dodged an attack, and then the guy punched a wall and broke his hand or something. Like it's like those type of antics.
Okay,
it's like silly fun fights. It does get a little bit more deeper than that later, but it starts out that way. And I think that's what's really going to appeal to people. This show is fun. It's just pure fun. And I can't wait to see like what Trigger is doing, because they're such an illustrious studio, S tier at some points, depending on what content they're making. I saw the PV. It looks fantastic. I cannot wait. Okay, Miles, now I need your thoughts on what you think of Delicious in Dungeon.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about this. One thing that I'm excited about is that it seems a little more action oriented than I thought initially. So one, I'm excited about that. Two, I like the concept. I think that's sort of fun. There's something that's just very calming about cooking shows, and I think that might be a fun juxtaposition between these fights that they have. So you get like sort of a build up when you kill a monster or everything, and then you have like a calming moment where they're preparing it or whatever is something that I feel like might happen that's exciting. And then, I'm pretty hit or miss on Trigger anime, but none of that is because of how well they're made or directed or anything like that. It's generally just sort of a content thing, and this content seems good. So I'm excited for that as well. And it seems like there's like, I'm curious like why the eating the monsters is taboo, and like if they sort of delve into that. And then the idea of having the sort of race to kill the dragon sort of seems like it might be fun. Like you could have rivaling parties and stuff. You obviously would know more than me because you've read some of it, but
yeah,
it seems like there's a lot of room for some pretty interesting dynamics.
Yeah, so you were right. It is more action oriented because they have to like do this for survival. So I'm assuming every episode is going to have some sort of combat into cooking. But if I'm assuming most people have seen Free Ren, where they kind of do like the contrast of it can be serious at points, but then Free Ring gets stuck in a mimic and it kind of like cuts the tension. That's what like this show does. Like it does like parts where it's like, okay, it's like this epic battle scene, but then they cut the tension with something funny that happened. So it's a nice, healthy mix of adventure, action, cooking, like that slice of life. The cast is really fun. Marcel is like best girl by like a mile.
Okay, she looks like one.
Yeah,
right.
She's
like
super
the character
fun.
design for everyone seems great. Honestly,
yes. Speaking of that, if you like character design and the show, there's a YouTuber named Lines in Motion who does this entire essay about the character design of this property. It's a really good watch, but yeah, this show, honestly, to me, it's probably gonna be like animation of the year qualities based off the PV. I think it might be anime of the year quality. This is probably my most look forward to show. Actually, my second most look forward to show for next season. This is an absolute must watch.
Whoa, what's the I don't okay. We're gonna play a game where I'm gonna try to guess what actually it's gonna be next.
Yeah, it is. You are correct.
That was really easy. Never mind. That was
a fun game we played.
Yeah, what a fun game we just played together.
What would you put this in your
Yes. So, I mean, this I think is another must watch for me. I think it looks like a ton of fun. If the party dynamic is like Konosuba and it's like a less horny Konosuba,
there's almost zero horny in this. There's some, but it's like not even close to Konosuba.
You gotta have some horniness.
You gotta have some horny.
But like, Konosuba has, I would say, more than some, but like that sort of fun adventure friendship dynamic that the cast in Konosuba has, if we can mimic that like even 80%, this will be an amazing show.
Yeah.
I doubt I'm throwing this into my anime of the year contention for next year, but maybe I am. I don't know.
Maybe.
But I am excited to watch it. Is it what I'm looking forward to most for next season? Probably from like an objective point of view.
Okay.
Like if I'm being honest about what the quality of a given show will probably be, we are going to have a show coming up that just screams Miles.
Yes.
And that show will probably be like a 7.3 on Mal or something, and I'll act like it's not, but it will be. Like that'll just be correct.
You fools, so, this is a 10.
Yeah. But yeah, that I'm very excited for this. This is definitely another must watch from me. So I'm excited to start it in a few weeks.
Hell yeah, I can't wait. Yeah. Also, I believe this is also 2 cores. I believe that it was announced. Nice. Yeah. So
okay.
Aired. Oh, I should have said this before, but this will air on Thursdays, starting January 4th. So like right after the new year. So that's Delicious and Dungeon. Moving on to our next show, the show I am most looking forward to. Got my manga right here, baby. You guessed it. A Sign of Affection. I can't wait for A Sign of Affection. Yuki, a hearing impaired university student whose world has been shrouded with silence since birth. She has lived in the same place with her whole life and rarely interacts with others except for her best friend Rin. During her commute to school one day, she meets a silvered hair, multilingual Itsumi Nagi, a mutual friend of Rin. Unlike most, Itsumi is unwavering when he learns of Yuki's impairment. This, along with his experience abroad, fascinates and touches her. After they part, her fondness of him starts to grow. A new world begins to open up for both Yuki and Itsumi as they learn about each other's different lives. Couple things about this. One, I love that this is a representation of like hearing impairment. We only really have a silent voice, I feel like. So this is a more non-serious version of something like this. It's a fun romance between a hearing impaired girl, and like this isn't like a spoiler or anything, but what makes Itsumi so focused on Yuki is that he is a world traveler and is a polyglot. I think he can speak like 5 languages, but he doesn't know sign language. So then he gets fascinated with sign language and gets fascinated with Yuki because of that parallel. And from there, they start to develop a relationship. 2, this is set in college. No more high school romance. We have full-fledged adults, or I guess becoming adults. They're not in high school. I'll just put it that way. I think Itsumi's like 20. I think
put it on the board.
Yeah, it's close enough. I think they're like 19, 20 years old. So very rare that we get romances set side of high school, let alone college. I mean, like the ones that we get is like Rent a Girlfriend, which doesn't count as a show. So like the fact that we actually get like a real story of two college students is just, I can't wait to look forward to. I have read, I think I'm like 3 chapters behind on the manga. This shit is so good. It is so good. It was one of my final 4 for my manga of the year last year. That's how good it was. Everything about it is just what you expect from real humans working together in a relationship, especially with this boundary of communication. And it's not, it's just like a different form of miscommunication. And how they just understand each other and work through their differences is just such a breath of fresh air. I can't effing wait. Miles, your thoughts on Side of Affection?
1, for hearing impairment representation in anime, we of course have Ranking of Kings. I can't believe you forgot it.
That's a good one.
Yeah. However, when you gave me, you're like, okay, Miles, like look through the shows, see what you want to talk about here. You had given me like a list you wanted to show, and you said The Sign of Affection. But on Mal, it has the Japanese name. So I was reading through this and I was like, how did Pete miss this? This is insane. This is the most Pete show that's ever Pete
ever.
and then I was like, it's a shoujo. It has like representation for people with disabilities. It has it's just college setting. And then I saw the name. But yeah, I'm excited about this too. I've heard amazing things about this from you and also anyone that we know who reads shoujo. Basically, people were like freaking out when this got announced. I remember like it was it felt like the 4th of July for people or something. Like fireworks were going off. It looks really pretty from what I've seen, like the animation. I'm excited to watch this. It sounds like a really nice, sweet story. I can always use some more adult cast romances in my life because we don't get that many.
No, we do not.
So that's very exciting for me. I'm really excited to see how it plays out because I don't know anything about it. You know what I mean? And so I'm excited to sort of experience it through watching it.
Yeah, I saw a couple things about this. This actually has been in production for like 2 years or something like that. So
Damn.
What they were doing was they were working with the animators to properly animate the sign language.
That's awesome.
That they didn't want to get anything like wrong. And so that's a really sweet touch that they're taking this very seriously. That it wouldn't surprise me if like these episodes are already completed just with how long the production has been going on for. But like that's such a good sign that they put so much care into this property that I'm expecting great things from this. Like just from what I know from the source material and what I've seen from the PV, it is very shoujo-y. I think like the color palettes that they use and sort of like the reflection of like their skin just radiates just beauty. And it looks so good. Like I can't wait to see my girl Yuki finally animated. I can't wait to see Best Boy Itsumi. He's such a good boy. But there's one character who is up there with, he might be fuckboy of the year. And yeah.
That wasn't the category I was expecting.
Yes.
Who else is in contention for fuckboy of the year?
Well, if Rent a Girlfriend season 4 gets released, Kazuya is always like the leading candidate for fuckboy of the year.
Is fuckboy bad in your
Fuckboy's
cadence?
Fuckboy's bad, yeah, for sure.
Oh,
you think
okay,
fuckboy's good?
Depending on your point of view.
Okay, in the comments below, let us know if fuckboy is a good thing or a bad thing. I always associate it with like you're being a fuckboy, like you're.
But I don't associate it with like Kazuya. Like I associate it with people who are like they're like too cool and they know it, and so they're like a fuckboy because of that.
I think there's various levels of fuckboy.
Okay,
do we want to dive into this?
Yeah. Okay. Next episode, we're going to talk about. We're going to name character. Everyone comment your characters you think are a fuckboy, and then Pete and I will debate fuckboy or not.
Yes, that's good. And then we have to come up with like our own like definition. Yeah, like what you think is a fuckboy, and then what I think is a fuckboy, and then we can go through a list and then we can rank them. We can do a tier list. People love tier lists.
Who is the platonic fuckboy? Like the essence of fuckboy.
Man, I'm trying to think because like.
Because do you think Andy from Undead Unluck is a fuckboy?
That's different because like he's like immortal and I think in a sense, yes.
That's the type of fuckboy I was thinking about.
See, I'm thinking more along the lines of like Kazuya from Rent a Girlfriend. Like
okay,
somebody. We can dive into this. We're talking like, side of affection.
It's true. The guys from Jersey Shore,
fuck boys. Yes. Okay. Except for Donnie, is that his name?
Ronnie?
Not Ronnie. The nice one who's like the mama's boy.
Is his name
Vinny?
Andy?
Vinny's the good one. Ronnie's not even a fuckboy. That dude needs to go
he's
to
like
jail.
A domestic abuse.
Yeah, he needs to go to prison.
Okay, wait. Vinny's a fuckboy.
Is he now? Okay, well at the time.
Oh wait, he was. 1 second. We're paused for edit here.
No,
right?
we are not pausing for edit. We are running this. Okay, I will say this. I didn't watch like past season 2. So like maybe Vinny was always a fuckboy, but like in the light of like Pauly D and Ronnie and Mike, I guess Mike he literally called himself the Situation. If you nickname yourself the Situation, you're a fuckboy.
So what I think is that like Vinny's a fuckboy, but in that house, he is the least fuckboy.
Yes.
Yeah. I definitely I think that's true.
Because like literally when you Google Vinny, it's a picture of him at Chippendales with his shirt off and he's flexing, and that's fuckboy material for sure. So I think in the light of this, now I realize who he is, but at the time of my adolescence watching Jersey Shore, I thought he was by far the best one.
Well, I mean, he could be. I'm just saying they intentionally cast a bunch of fuckboys. Like, that was
sure.
Yeah.
But like it's like going back to it,
Trent has to listen to all.
There's like levels of fuckboys. So like when you're like a 2 out of 10 fuckboy, like you're still one of them. But when you have the Situation, it's like the sun. Everyone's looking at the sun, and it takes away from your fuckboyness. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I just like, and I've actually not consumed any Rent a Girlfriend, but I feel like Kazuya is like in that simp category. You know what I mean?
He's
like
both.
Whoa.
You can do multiple things.
That's tough. I feel like they're sort of like diametrically opposed. I don't know.
Did you see that viral video where the dude's like, you have to pick one or the other, and he's like, no, I don't. It's like that. Oh, it's like the economy being stable or like rights for women. He's like, you have to pick one. He's like, no, I don't. It's that. It's just like it's like either Kazuya's a fuckboy or he's a simp. He's like, nah, he's both.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting at.
Okay, for sure.
Can we get back to side of affection though?
So what I was going to ask you when this whole conversation happened, Jesus fuck.
Yeah.
Are you concerned about the studio at all?
It is a pretty average studio. I think the work, so it's Agia Do, I believe it's pronounced. They did add Lessons of a Bookworm, which I thought is pretty well animated. Outside of Atlases of a Bookworm, they're pretty, I would say, average to below average.
Yeah, so I've only watched one show of theirs, which is the 2-part Yokohama shopping trip OVA, which was nicely animated for something that came out in 1998. But I feel like at this point, that whole studio must have turned over. But,
no, for sure.
Yeah, I was just looking, and like they don't have a lot of things that are high scoring, and I don't know if that's because of the subject materials that they chose to animate, or if that's indicative of the quality.
Yeah. Maybe this is like, I think this happened last. I'm not going to say that this is on the same level, but the same thing with Dogakobo. They're known for making 7 out of 10 anime, and then they got Oshinoko. I'm not saying this is Oshinoko, but this is like I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one of, if not the hottest shoujo selling manga in Japan. Like it's a huge deal. Like actually, it's up there. It's probably not number 1, but it's probably like top 5 if you catch my drift. But like,
ooh, they did an Emma adaptation.
I think that this is based off the PV. It looks really good. Like I'm not super concerned. Also, this is the type of story where the animation doesn't need to be, breathtaking to get the story across. So,
Yeah, so I don't. Yeah, again, I was basically asking because I wasn't sure if you were more familiar with the studio than I am, because I basically just go, oh, Ascendance of the Bookworm, okay, like I know that's done pretty solidly, and then I watched this OVA they made in the '90s, and that was good, but
Yeah.
I don't know about between those 2 points.
If the
So
animation's like a 7, I'm still giving this show a 10. Like
okay,
straight up.
that's
So obviously this is a must watch for me, especially if you're a fan of romance, if you're a fan of anything that's adult casted related or college. You got to put this on your radar. Read it, watch it. I don't care. Just consume A Sign of Affection.
yeah. So I would put this must watch as well. Again, it's something that is so well loved by the group of people who I know who have like consumed the source material that it's just I feel like we might need to reframe if this is like a weak season or not. Like maybe it's not as deep, but I feel like we've just had 3 shows that were like these are super heavy hitter, like watch them for sure, you know?
Yeah, no, I think that it wouldn't surprise me if I gave like this season like 3 9s, but I also wouldn't be surprised if I gave this season like 14 7s or something like that.
Okay. Yeah. So you think it falls off after a certain point here?
I do. I think at a certain point it does.
Okay. But yeah, Sign of Affection definitely a must watch for me. I'm very excited to watch it. Yeah, and so next up we have The Witch and the Beast, and what's very exciting about this is that this synopsis is about 3 sentences. um, oh no, is it good? Is it French? Do you know?
It looks French.
French girl,
French girl.
a feral girl.
I'm gonna say Godot.
Godot. That's what I was thinking. Okay, Godot. I'm gonna say that, and if I'm wrong, comment because that will increase our reach.
Oh, according to the Wikipedia, it's pronounced Guido.
Godot, a feral girl with long fangs and the eyes of a beast. Oh, fuck, these 3 sentences. Ashaf. A soft-spoken man with delicate features and a coffin strapped to his back. This ominous pair appears in town one day that's enthralled to a witch who has convinced the townfolk that she's their hero. But Asaf and Godot know better. They have scores to settle and they won't hesitate to remove anyone in their way. I'm pretty excited about this. It sort of seems like I like supernatural stuff. It's a sign-in, which to me always is a good sign because, like, even though sign-ins can miss pretty hard, to me it just sort of like as an adult man, I like who knew that I liked media that was designed for my demographic.
Targeted towards
yeah, I know. I'm pretty excited about it. I think that these character designs look really cool. The setting is sort of right up my alley. I like this whole sort of like vaguely Victorian magical world sort of thing. I'm excited to see how this duo interacts with each other. What are your initial thoughts here, Pete?
Yeah, so I learned about this series a couple of years ago. Also, shout out to Cosette, who is probably the biggest pusher to Witch and the Beast. And from what I've seen from the panel, she's a big pusher.
Okay. Yeah, so as soon as she watches Yuri Is My Job, I'll watch this.
Okay, I think that's a fair compromise. You didn't watch this show, but Undead Girl Murder Farce, which it had
I need to watch that.
It had like the supernatural element, but that was more like mystery focus. I think this one's more, and they even say in the title, it's more feral focus. I think it's a little bit more fighty, action, gory-ish. Not like
a Van Helsing.
Something along those lines where it's like, I mean, the dude carries a coffin on his back. Like, there are some things that are peak character design. One, girls who wear huge sweaters and it goes over their arms, peak character design. Dudes who carry coffins on their back, peak character design. That's so cool. I just love this like aesthetic. It looks like they're in like I don't know. I can't tell if it's like modern day or like
it looks like 1880 to 1920.
Yeah,
is
like
what I would
industrial guess. Steam engine.
Yeah,
style.
like again, like a Van Helsing sort of thing. Like maybe trains are around and you have like maybe single shot pistols or something.
Ooh,
that's my guess from like what we're looking at here.
Yes, I have not watched the PV of this yet. I've only basing this off of like the manga panels that I've seen. The characters for both genders are super hot. That's a huge plus. I like looking at hot people. Overall, this looks like I mean, if it's anything even close to Undead Girl Murder Farce, this is like A+ for me. That was one of my favorite shows from 2023. And yeah, I'll just wait and see what it goes into. But I don't really have a whole lot to say just because I don't have like a whole lot of information. But based off what I have, it looks really good. I'm gonna put this in. Consider watching it if you're a fan of Undead Girl Burfers. I could be so far off from this, but that's what I'm going with. That's what I'm running with.
So I'm gonna go with, unless this seems super duper up your alley, wait. And here's the reason, Pete. You click on the studio that's doing this, Yokohama Animation Lab. You sort by score,
Okay.
right? The anime, like they have a preview that's higher rated, by the way, than any of their anime. They did the JJK preview, like not JJK, just the preview, and that's their highest rated show.
Yeah.
Their highest rated anime is The Genius Prince Who Raised a Nation Out of Debt at a 7.4.
Yeah, that was a pretty average show too. But they also did Miru Tights, so
that was going to say, the other thing that I know that they did is Miru Tights, which admittedly had a lot of passion, let's say, put into the animation.
Yes, it did.
That.
If you like feet, watch Miru Tights.
Jesus Christ, I'm looking at the freaking art for it right now.
Yeah, it's your wallpaper. Don't act like you're not.
My wallpaper is the end card of Shall We Gundam from Witch for Mercury.
Oh, nice. That's a good one.
Yeah. So, and then of course the other monitor is the PV of Miru Tights.
There we go. There we go. I knew we were gonna get there.
Yeah. So I guess like my concern would be like, I see shows that they've put together that are animated well, but those are Miru Tights, and then I see shows that are longer but don't really have great animation or direction or the stories or whatever. And that could be like source material, of course. But I guess that's I'm going to watch this from episode 1. I think it looks fantastic. I love this style of thing, but I think if this isn't speaking to you, but like maybe it would, just like wait to save yourself just in case it's complete ass.
Gotcha.
Is my advice there.
I think if this show is complete ass, I know a few people are going to be very, very upset.
I guess if it's complete ass, read the manga or something.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Like, yeah.
Run with that. Okay, so that is The Witch and the Beast. Moving on to our next show is called Sasaki and Peeps. Even though Sasaki droll, corporate life is consistently filled with work that leaves him tired and unfulfilled at the end of every day. In search of some companionship to fill this emptiness in his life, he visits a pet shop on a whim, not realizing he's about to change his life forever. After settling on an adorable bird and bringing it home, his new roommate reveals that it's actually an incredible sage from another world who promptly bestows Sasaki with supernatural powers, as well as the ability to cross between worlds. All Sasaki wants to do is use his newfound powers to live in peace and comfort, but there are the new colorful characters who might get in the way of that. A couple things about Sasaki and Peeps with this that stood out to me. It's like a mix between corporate life, adult cast, and like magical girls. So I don't know really what we're going to get into. The genres are adventure, comedy, and fantasy. It's also an isekai because he can travel between worlds. But I like this idea of a businessman being a magical boy, essentially, and hanging out with doing magical girl stuff, but at the same time doing like his 9-to-5 job. I think that this could be pretty funny. I think that there was a show that was similar to this, but I forgot what's off the top of my head. But I just like the mix. Like the one thing I love about anime is like anything is possible. This show just seems like an ad lib of 5 different things and they just put it into a show. I don't know. I just like the premise more than anything. Miles, your thoughts on Sasaki and Peeps?
Yeah, so you like lost me at like, oh, it's a corporate show about going to work. Like I do that all the time anyway. But then you got me back with Magical Girl. So I mean, I don't know. I do. I think this is interesting. I think it definitely has like a good potential for comedy. You know, it's always hit or miss, but like, I don't know, some world where a magical girl has to like fill in for him at like his office or something, or like any fantasy character, like that could be super funny. right? Like, I think there's a lot of scenarios and crossovers with this that have a high amount of humor potential. So I'm pretty excited to check this out. From what I can tell, too, like the art looks nice. It's like the generic shiny anime art style, but I like anime, so I'm all about that. So I really just hope this is fun. You know what I mean? Like
That's what I'm
I
hoping
think
for
this,
too.
yeah, I just want to like watch this, and at the end of the day, I go to our anime thing in our Discord, and I just type "what a fun episode," and then I don't know, Sora and I talk about it for 10 minutes or
Sure.
something. Like that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I think this is a style of show where let me watch it first, and I'll let you know how it is. I think this could easily go two ways. I'm really hoping for it's the good one, but I do think this hodgepodge of mixing genres and storylines together could get a little iffy. Nobody has rated the manga, or it's a
I
light novel.
I'm looking 501 members, so not
Yeah,
enough people have rated it, but it's been ongoing since 2021. I wonder if it's like more popular in Japan.
yeah, maybe. But I just like also the title is just named Sasaki and Peeps. That's fun. I think it's fun. I like silly like animal side characters or like there's a show a couple seasons ago called The Masterful Cat is Always Depressed, where like the main character was this giant cat character along with the main character, and that show was incredible. Maybe it's something like this.
Okay, I have a very important side note we need to go on. Kayla, this is my lovely wife, Kayla. Um, Kayla, can you rank the boys of Jersey Shore for me from the most fuck boy to the least fuck boy? Okay, Ronnie's the most fuck
Yep.
boy. Yeah, we said he's not even a fuck boy; he's a domestic abuser.
This is the quality content you get from the What Do You Say Anime
Okay,
podcast.
so we got Mike the situation.
Yep. Pauly D or Vinny? Which one is it?
Polly then Vinny.
Let's go! Base Kayla!
Now, would you consider Vinny to be a fuck boy though? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
I think we're all in agreement with that.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, he's the most workable. Okay. Yeah, that's it. That's what I needed you for.
Thank you, Kayla. We did.
Okay.
Since you guys are East Coast, you have more say in this than I do. So I appreciate the input from Kayla. As always, she is extremely based and has the correct answer. Back to Sasaki and Peeps, though. Yeah, I think you should just wait till I watch it, and I'll let you know. You have any thoughts on this one, Miles?
Yeah, I think my plan is to probably do that, but like maybe just wait one episode. Like if people seem to like it on the first episode, I'll probably give it a go. I think if I had more free time, like if this was like 2 years ago, Miles, then maybe I would probably just watch this because I think it seems interesting enough. But if you're someone who can only watch, half a dozen or so seasonals a season just because you have so much going on, like me, then maybe wait on this one because you gotta pick and choose. There's good stuff you have to cut, when you're busy. So
agreed.
So next we have Metallic Rogue.
Yeah, Rouge, I think.
Yeah, so Metallic Rouge or Rogue. I don't know how to spell, but another short synopsis. Very happy about this. In a world where humans and androids coexist, Rouge is an android girl who is on a mission on Mars with her partner Naomi. The mission is to murder 9 artificial humans who are hostile to the government. Oh, so this is Blade Runner. That's neat.
I haven't seen Blade Runner.
Okay. Harrison Ford murders androids.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So this is, despite the short synopsis, this is Studio Bones, and the PV art looks really cool. And for personal reasons, I'm pretty excited to figure out what the word partner means in this case. But
I got some bad news for you.
Yeah, probably. But you can hold out hope until we watch the first episode.
For sure.
But I think this looks interesting. I like sci-fi anime a fair bit. I like the idea of this like team of assassins, and then I think there's some interesting intrigue potential. Like, why are these androids hostile to the government? It says they're in this world where androids coexist. How true is that actually going to be? Are we going to see that maybe there is sort of like an underclass thing for the androids or whatever going on. Will their alliances change as time goes on? I feel like almost every show that has an assassin in it, they switch sides at one point. You know what I mean? Like
I get it. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. What are your thoughts here? I think the PV art is also pretty intriguing.
It does look really good. I don't know if they're cashing in on the Licorice Recoil hype, but I'm getting a little bit sci-fi Licorice Recoil. But also, the last time Bones did an original with 2 female leads, it was Carol and Tuesday, and that show banged. So
Also on Mars.
also on Mars, yes. Yes, it is on Mars. So
Crossover potential.
yes. Oh my god, if this is set in the Carol and Tuesday multiverse,
Yeah, the cinematic Carol and Tuesday.
universe, yeah, that would be. I mean, there's actually they more look like Great Pretender characters than Carol and Tuesday. Maybe a little bit, but yeah,
All you need is a song on the radio, right?
Oh, that'd be a sick tie-in. Yes, that'd be so cool.
Hear that, Studio Bones? Hire me.
Yes, hire Miles. Miles, I want my finder's fee or something. I don't know how that works. Yeah, but just based off, Bones can be hit and miss. I would say for the most part, they're pretty solid. Like, I know like people had issues with like the last 2 seasons of My Hero, but outside of that, I mean, like they did last year, they did Mob season 3, which was like one of my favorite shows ever. So like Bones is like a top tier studio for a reason. I think they've done I think the last original they did was Carol and Tuesday. So it wouldn't surprise me if this is also really good, but that was also 2 core, so I got to flesh out. I don't know if this is 2 core. I think it's 1. This also just screams Netflix to me. I feel like
this will almost certainly come out on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Like it just looks like it will.
It looks like a Netflix show for some reason.
Well, does Bones do a lot of Netflix shows?
Well, they did Carol and Tuesday, which was a Netflix show.
Okay.
I'd have to go through their catalog, but
I'm going through it right now. I don't think they really do, but I agree with you. It feels like it does. Like I guess not for no reason. This makes me think of
they had
Cyberpunk.
Super Crooks. Super Crooks was a Netflix show. Carol and Tuesday was a Netflix show. Skate wasn't. They're originals. No, like yeah. So their original Super Crooks is an original that was on Netflix. Carol and Tuesday was an original that was on Netflix.
Yeah, so maybe they have a deal with Netflix for their originals.
That would make a lot of sense. So I would be intrigued to see if that is the case. But yeah, I mean, we really don't have like a whole lot of information. I haven't watched the PV yet, but yeah, this is to me just what's attached to it, what they've done before. This is like. I wouldn't say must watch, but it's like one step below it. It's like you should, if you have Netflix, you should watch this type of thing. If you don't have Netflix, maybe chill for a minute, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, this is almost there for me for must watch.
You know what? I'm gonna say that this is a must watch. I'm looking at the PV right now. The art is really pretty. It looks really well animated. I don't know, of course we don't know if it's going to be good or not, especially it being original.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Bones has a track record good enough that I would say you should give this a show. A shot.
Like, you should give this a show.
Yeah, you should give this a show. You should definitely check this out, is what I think. So I'll put this in a must watch for me.
Okay.
Or must check out, which is I guess what we mean by must watch, right? Yeah. You must finish the show. Even if you don't like it.
You don't have to watch it, but you have to finish it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. That's cool. Yeah, Metallic Rogue. Look forward to that. Next up, we have Dr. Elise. Dr. Sung Ji-hoon is considered a prodigy among Korean surgeons, known for her skill in saving patients no matter what their condition is. In her past life as Elise de Florence, the ill-mannered wife of the emperor, her jealousy and greed has led to the loss of her loved ones and ultimately her death. For that reason, she vowed to now save lives instead of destroying them. After a fatal plane crash, Elise finds herself once again in her former body with her previous knowledge of modern medicine and now a chance of mending her mistakes. She is determined to contribute to the empire as a medic in this life, but will Elise be able to avoid her engagement to the prince, the man she loved to the point of her own demise? A couple things about this. It's a reincarnation medical comedy fantasy romance. A lot of stuff thrown in there. I like medical shows. I think like the idea of like having modern day knowledge with previous, like going back in time, is kind of fun. There was like a pharmacy show that did that where like he knew like alchemy and like how what medicine worked to make like aspirin. Stuff like that to me is cool. However, that show only is cool for as long as you make it interesting, which a lot of times sizzles and burns after about episode like 6. So, will this show be able to keep my interest? We'll have to find out. It does have the romance tag, which I'm a sucker for. It does look like they're an adult cast, but like, is she like a major simp for this prince? Because it sounds like she is, and we'll just have to wait and see. Miles, your thoughts on the Doctor Elite?
So there's like a lot going on here. I like the double reincarnation bit. She dies, she gets reincarnated, and then she like travels into her past, reincarnated back into her previous life again after she dies for being a surgeon or something. I think that's like super neat. I like the medicine stuff, obviously. I like this whole like visual style of this like sort of French, like her name is Elise de Clarence. Like I'm a sucker for that. Like the princess is named Lyndon de Romanov. Like hit me with it.
That's pretty cool.
So I'm excited for this. I think that it might be too busy. There is a lot of stuff going on, as you've mentioned, but I think that I probably won't care.
Okay.
Like I think that because like I feel like there's like a lot of drama potential in this where like people will get upset about really dumb unimportant things and stuff, and as we've learned from our dating story, I like that, so I'm super fine with that. So I'm
fair.
excited for that, and I think it'll be interesting to see the dynamic of, I guess, like a wife of like an emperor becoming a surgeon, I guess, in like that has some neat potential for me as well, because that's not sort of like the normal role you would see a character like that in. And you could have a neat sort of thing where you flash back to moments in her previous life where she was cruel versus now and see how things diverge. So I think the show has a lot of potential. I'm not going to lie, it doesn't look like it's going to fulfill all of that potential just by looking at it. They say not to
Yeah.
judge a book by its cover, but I'm about to. I'm about to judge this anime by its preview art. So
It looks bad. The preview art looks really bad.
Yeah, the manga cover is like very pretty.
It's so pretty.
Yeah, but I don't think you could animate something like that, sadly.
It'd be tough.
Or
yeah.
you could, but you would have to. Is it a manhwa?
It is a manhwa.
Okay.
She's a Korean surgeon, of course.
Well, I don't know. You can have a
I know you
Korean
can,
surgeon.
but
okay. But yeah, I think that I'm excited about it. I think I'm excited to watch it. I think it's definitely like a wait and see, unless it again it like sparks your fancy. And I assume you're probably similar on it, but like you might even be cooler.
I'm a little cooler just because I have watched like reincarnated medicine shows before, and I think the highest I've ever given one of those is a 6. So I'm pretty iffy about how these stories get adapted, because a lot of times it's you come into it with an interesting premise. They do some interesting things that you haven't seen in anime. I mentioned it before with like the pharmacy one. So this one's more along the lines of like surgical stuff. Maybe you do something interesting, but can you keep that up for 12 episodes is like my real question surrounding it. So I will wait and see. I'm going into this with it looks like the production, I'm not gonna lie, looks really bad. Like
it does.
This studio is, I've seen a lot of their work and they're all, I mean, like looking at it,
that other Villainous show is
that one was fine. That one was fine, but like Land of Leedale was like whatever. Sailing on a Million Lives was really bad. Let's Make a Mug, really bad.
It's impressive that you think that too. Like that's
even if it's for my daughter, I defeated Demon Lord. Gets really bad.
No, do they date?
They get married.
Yep.
Yeah. So going into this, I am going to be biased, thinking that it's probably going to be trash, but I will keep an open mind because I like medical stuff in anime. So
Here are some things to consider.
okay, let's hear it.
Here's my defense of the show that I'll probably drop 3 episodes in.
Yeah.
1, not necessarily a reincarnated show. View it as an empress randomly gets the knowledge of a 21st century surgeon, because that's essentially what happens.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
2, yeah, you can't always carry stuff with like, this is the new pharmacy thing we're doing. That's why we have the parallels between the past life and the current life and the romance arc
That's
with
true.
this, right? 3, you're probably right. This will probably be bad, but I hope it's good.
You know what else is going to suck with this? The Apothecary Diaries second core will be airing.
Yeah, so is Apothecary Diaries my favorite anime this season? Yes.
Yes.
Is it my favorite anime next season? Almost certainly.
Almost, yeah.
Will it win my anime of the year? Maybe. Like, I love the Apothecary Diaries. This doesn't need to be as good as the Apothecary Diaries, mostly because it won't be. That
was a toss up to yourself and just alley-ooped it.
But if this can, like, I mean, this woman's too nice, right? Like, looking at her smiling.
Well,
like,
it sounds like she was a terrible person in her past life. So.
Yeah, but like Mao Mao is 1, not nice, and 2, not a terrible person. She is like amazing and perfect in every way.
You're not wrong.
God, I love Mao Mao. I was just when she was God. I just
wait for our review in like 3 months, and you could gush about Mao Mao.
I will. I have to make sure I watch enough shows in winter. Even if I hate this, I need to finish it so that I can. You can
just come on for Apothecary Diaries. That's fine.
Love to see it,
but you have to finish Free Run. Actually, that's a stipulation.
I 100% will finish Free Run. Okay. I love Free Run.
All right, then you're welcome back. You're welcome back.
Okay, I'm to date with Free Run. But if this gives me like 20% of Apothecary Diaries on a day that isn't the day Apothecary Diaries comes out,
Saturday.
Yeah, we watch it on Sundays though.
Oh, gotcha. Well, good news. The show airs on Wednesdays.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So if this can give me 20% to like hold me over, I'll love it. I'll give it 20.
Right on. Yep. For me, I might let the wait to see if other people watch it before I start. That's where I'm at. It is technically on my plan to watch, but it's at the bottom. So I'll wait and see about Dr. Elise.
I just want it to be good. I know it won't be, but I want it to be.
I've been wrong before. Actually, now I think about it, I'm wrong all the time. So who knows?
Yeah. I mean, you're wrong sometimes, but I don't think you're wrong about Dr. Elise, the royal lady with the lamp. But we'll find out.
Oh yeah, I forgot to add that extra part to it. What's with the lamp?
We don't know, and honestly, I don't think the Japanese part, I don't think mentions a lamp.
In the PV art, there's no lamp either. She's carrying a chart, like a nurse's chart,
like a medical chart. Yeah.
What's the lamp? She's
a doctor. Don't just assume that she's a nurse.
No, what are those things called? Whatever. I'm not saying
or a clipboard.
If a dude was holding it, I would have called it a nurse chart no matter what.
You would have been like, "Oh, the doctor chart."
I don't know what it's called. I haven't been to a doctor's office in like 9 years, so leave me alone.
Well, one that's called a clipboard.
Whatever. That shows how much I know. It's a nurse's chart. That's what I'm gonna call it.
Okay. You should have been. She's holding that thing, and I'm like,
well, doesn't like the nurse come in first and like write stuff down on it, and then like leaves it for the doctor? I don't know.
It depends where you're going.
I don't know.
And like why? Because like sometimes there's like a medical assistant.
I don't have to explain myself to you. Let's move on to the next show.
Okay. So this show, Loop 7 Kaime no Akuyaku Reijo wa Moto Tekiko de Jiu Kimama na Hana Yome Sekatsu
3% of our listeners are Japanese. What's the English title?
That's the one that's on top. Or 7th time Loop the Villainess enjoys a carefree life married to her worst enemy. So being reborn once may sound impressive, but Riche is already on her 7th time around. She has had all kinds of excitement in her previous lives, from peddling goods as a merchant to locking blades as a knight. So now she's determined to kick back and enjoy. But to savor the high life, she has to first marry the handsome prince, the same one that happens to be her murderer. It will take 6+ lifetimes of experience and skills for Riche to break the time loop and make her extravagant dreams come true. So we finally get to anime of the year. I'm genuinely pretty excited about this. I think that's because I'm me. I love time loops. I love things that have any amount of like murder mystery sort of things to this. So seeing how the prince murders her in past lives and stuff might be interesting. This also gives me some sort of like Slumdog Millionaire vibes, where she has like this wide breadth of experience from like different things that she probably like shouldn't have, but she can use those to, make her life work out in some way. So I expect that sort of storytelling where you see flashbacks to like any of the 6 previous loops, and you get stories on how she learned various skills or how she knows knowledge that she needs. So, we have a bunch of, like we got like the sort of the villainous, the romance aspect, time loops, all of that, which I'm a very big fan of. Now, Pete, please give us like a reasonable, regular person take on this.
Um, I don't know. It seems kind of cool. Like the PV art looks kind of fun.
It's really cool.
So it's like they're like dancing like a ballroom on like the top half. Think of like the Spy Family PV for this season, where it's like 2 sides, and on the bottom they look like they're like battling
He's
each other.
stabbing her through the chest.
Yeah, is this like a Romeo and Juliet thing? I don't know.
Well,
Like,
he kills her, right? Like that's what we know in the
oh
previous.
yeah.
So
But
like what she needs to do is like romance him in some way, so that, and we don't know
Yeah.
why yet, right? So it'll be interesting, but like it feels like she's in like a groundhog scenario until she can
woo
like
him.
woo him,
Yeah.
or prevent him from murdering her at the least. And I think there's a lot of interesting stuff there because it's probably hard to be attracted to someone who's killed you 6 times. And so like I'm
Very.
interested to see how that dynamic is played. There's like a really good chance that it's played terribly, but like also maybe it'll be played good. We never know. But I think that, it looks exciting to me. It looks like it has a lot of hot dudes in it.
Well, you got me there.
Which you suspect for a villainous show, obviously. Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting, and it at least offers sort of a unique spin on the villainous prince romance shows that we see a lot recently.
Yeah. I think the time loop thing could be a little fun based off what we've gotten so far. So that's probably the selling point for me, because I do think the villainous style shows have gotten a little oversaturated at some points.
We get like 2 or 3 a season at this point.
Yeah,
it's
and
almost like isekai. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot, and they are isekais usually. And I actually don't know if this one is.
This one's not. This one's just
not.
a fantasy.
Okay,
fantasy
that's
reincarnation.
Kind of fun. Yeah. So I guess like that is nice actually, but like I think you getting so many villainesses on top of already having so many isekai, it's like it is a little oversaturated.
Yeah,
right. It's like a subgenre of an already oversaturated genre.
Yeah, we actually talked about this when the currently airing one. I'm in love with the Villainess. Yeah,
yes.
where when I watched the first 3 episodes, I was pretty intrigued by it. It felt a little fresh for the Villainous scene, and then it has gotten a little whatever. I have a feeling that this might do the same thing too, where I think I might be really into it the first couple episodes. Can they keep it going to keep me interested for 12? So I'll be looking forward to it. It's not on my plan to watch per se. I think this is a show I'm gonna wait for Miles to let me know how it is, because he's the time loop guy.
I do love me some time loops. Yeah, so I mean, I definitely plan on watching this, and I think if it sounds interesting to you, of course, give it a shot. But what I do think that it's an adaptation based on a light novel that's not super highly rated or anything, and also barely has enough members to be weighted. So if it sounds interesting to you, give it a go. And if it sounds interesting enough that maybe you would like it, but you're not sure, just wait to see what people you trust give it.
Right on.
is what I would say.
All right, we'll move on to our last new show of the season. We saved the best for last for you. Do not worry. We are talking about Hokkaido gals are super adorable. Shiki has just moved from Tokyo to Hokkaido in the middle of winter. Not quite appreciating how far apart towns are in the country, he gets off the taxi at the next town over from his destination so he can see the sights around his home. But he's shocked to when he learns that the next town is a 3-hour walk away. But he meets a cute Dosanko. It's a born and raised Hokkaido Gairu named Fuyuki. There we go. Is braving the negative 8-degree weather in the standard Gairu outfit of short skirts and bare legs. This is.
You read the manga?
I did
summary.
because the anime synopsis was very short.
Yeah, that sounds like a feature to me.
I think this is very. We need to point this out. This is a romantic subplot or subtext, not a romance. It's also a comedy. From the people that I know that have read this, it's fun. They compared it to like Nagatoro without like the bullying and teasing, sort of just like a silly, fun like dude with like super attractive girls doing romantic comedy high school hijinks stuff. I don't, it's not labeled as an ecchi, but since that they're a Gairu characters, there might be some revealing features. With that being said, Miles, I know you were talking about this for hours before we got to recording. What are your thoughts on Hokkaido gals are super adorable?
I'm never going to watch this show.
Okay.
I'm not going to watch a single episode of the show. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe I need to unpack this. I get angry looking at it. I don't know why.
So you don't think that they're super adorable?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. They're cute character designs, I guess. I like the
arrest this man.
I like
busted.
The rainbow hairband is kind of fun, but yeah, like I don't. What is this show about?
I don't know. We'll have to find out. It's about I think it's just like a high school fun comedy, but like, you know, like maybe they like bump into each other like, oh, giggle, giggle, giggle type of thing, you know.
I think if it truly is romantic subtext, and I was looking through what has the romantic subtext on it, and like, okay, so like Your Name has romantic subtext. All the seasons of Kaguya have romantic subtext. Komi-san has romantic subtext. My senpai is annoying. Like, to me, that's a lot of shows that are just like kind of slow moving romances.
Yeah.
But like, oh my god, the maid show, the one with the small boy has romantic.
I did
subtext.
not watch that show.
I did not watch that either. But it's concerning. Is it like Takagi-san has romantic subtext? And like that's a romance, I would say, even if it's slow moving.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess like that's what I would be interested in. Like, is there an obvious romantic pairing in this?
Probably.
Or is there not? You know?
Yeah.
So, you know, if we're through 3 episodes of this and you're like, Miles is actually really fun, like you should watch it. And I do like what I would, I guess, want to see is even if it's slow moving, there actually be some sort of direction that it's going.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, I do like shows like Takagi. I do like shows like Nagatoro. So Komi, those style of shows, like they're like nice, relaxing 7 out of 10 shows for me.
What's the bit with this one though? Because like I guess like so like
they're
Takagi and Nagatoro, you have like the bullying, right?
They're probably
like
more like
teasing.
You know, like Marin or something like that. They're probably like more outgoing, more like
that might be fun.
Yeah, so we'll see, I guess, when we get there. I'll let you know. Don't worry. I'll watch the first episode.
The thing, I'm getting less angry at it as we discuss it. I just don't think I get it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I actually think that this is a good transition from before we get to our sequels. We were going to do shows that we will absolutely not be watching. Just shows that like do not click for us, that there's a reason why we didn't talk about it. I'm gonna go first. Chain Soldier. A lot of people consider this like a great ecchi show, like the successor to High School DxD. I read the first chapter. I thought it was one of the worst pieces of media I've ever watched in my entire or read in my entire life. So essentially the premise is like these girls are commanders. They turn dudes into like familiars and then they fight for them. And if they win the battle, they get like sexual favors from the female commanders. It's yeah, if that sounds bad, it's because it's trash. I dropped this manga so fast. It just looks like absolute ass. The next one is Tales of the Wedding Rings. The
Okay.
premise, actually, the synopsis I actually enjoyed, but it looks really etchy and really boing boing. If you catch my drift, so that immediately put me off. And then the
Big
last
old
show, what?
big old cocks in it,
Yeah, huge cock, just a massive cock. It's
boinging everywhere.
boing it everywhere. And the last one is The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic. That show already exists. It's called Redo of a Healer, and that show is hot ass. Miles, is there any shows that you will not be watching?
Yeah, I will specifically not be watching Gushing Over Magical Girls, which is a magical girl show about a villain who is a sadist and she uses her powers. I guess she's a magical girl, but she likes to use her powers to like inflict pain and stuff on her, and it's just sort of about her using her sadistic nature on these characters and like I don't know. It's weird because I've actually heard people say good things about it in some ways, but I am maybe just too much of a prude for this show, um, and I just can't get it over the premise. It's just too much for me, you know. So that is one that I will not at all ever be watching.
Right on. Any other shows, or is that the one that stuck out to you?
Similar, well, two of them that you mentioned were on my list, and then I hadn't heard of one of them. But yeah, so that's the main one that you had not named that I will for sure not be watching.
Right on. Okay, well, let's while we wrap up, we're gonna go over some of the sequels that we will be checking out this season. We just actually did the watch club for it, but The Dangers in My Heart second season. I am looking forward to
Yeah,
that. I did like how the first season ended. Hopefully, we continue that progression that I really enjoyed from the end of first season. And Yamada is just best girl. I will be checking out Mashal second season. However, I feel like it's going to be iffy because I hated how the first season ended. It was
it
not
got bad.
it got really bad. Like it lost a lot of its spunk, I thought, and was not a fan with how Mashal season 1 ended.
There was a whole character that got kidnapped or something, and they never addressed it.
Yeah, and
It was so weird.
the girl character, I really don't like that one girl character.
Lemon.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, she does the shoe cream dance at the ED, which was great, but outside of her wanting to maybe, I don't know, I'm not even gonna say it. If you see the show, you know what she's into. Just a little odd for me.
I'm just gonna say that's all of the characters. All of the characters want to have sex with Mash. That's all of their
Yeah,
personalities.
yeah, true. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. Another one that I'm actually looking forward to is an isekai I think came out in 2022. Is called Tsukamichi Moonlight Fantasy. It was a really fun first season. I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed the first season. It's kind of like a silly isekai, nothing special, but it's pretty fun. But the one that I'm looking forward to the most, by far, it is not even close. Tomozaki-kun, Bomb Tier Tomozaki-kun, second stage. I loved the first season. It's so fun. It's such a interesting premise with like characters actually progressing. I'm a huge fan. I never thought I would get a second season of this, and we are. And Miles, you mentioned it before. Speaking of big cocks, Bob Tier Tomozaki-kun, huge PP. So can't I? And for people who don't know, they make a point in season 1 where they're at like a hot spring and Tomozaki gets on the bath and all the dudes are like, "Holy shit, he's hung." It's it's great. It's like a 2-second clip. Like they don't make it like they don't like pause it or anything. Just like, damn, Tomozaki, and that's it. So, oh, the show is just so much fun. Miles, any sequels that you are looking forward to?
Yeah, so several of the ones that you had mentioned, along with I don't know, there's a world where I watched Classroom of the Elite season 3
Fuck
in
that
like 6
show. That's
months.
one show I will
So
not be watching.
yeah, I was surprised you didn't mention it. I like Classroom of the Elite. It's sort of like a guilty pleasure sort of trash show. and I won't be watching it as it airs, but like it's a show that I'll probably get around to watching at some point.
Right on. I also, I guess I forgot to put this in our notes, so my apologies. There's 2 shows I want to shout out real quick that I forgot to mention that I will 100,000,000% be watching. Fluffy Paradise. It's about a girl who gets reincarnated and hangs out with really cute animals. Can't wait. And then The Way of Pawn is cute girls do gambling mahjong. I will 1,000,000% be there for that one.
Oh,
So,
let me know if it's good.
it is. If it's bad, I'm gonna say it's good.
Yeah. But like, DM me.
Yeah,
you know
I
what I
gotcha.
mean. Like, I won't make you like say that out loud or anything. But like,
yeah, it's just my dream is what if the laid back camp girls became degenerate gamblers? It's done by OLM, who did Pokemon,
I'll watch.
Odd Taxi,
They're okay. Please,
Summertime Render. Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, so now they're doing cute girls doing mahjong. So can't wait for that. So
they've done some more stuff. They're like unironically my favorite studio.
Yeah, they're really, really good. Miles, anything to say before we head out?
Well, now that I know that OLM's doing a Cute Girls Do Gambling show and we didn't talk about it, I'm gonna watch that probably.
Sick. Yeah, so check out Way of Pawn when that releases. So if you have made this far and you want to support us, the best way to do so, like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on whatever platform you are watching or listening to us on. Let us know what shows you are watching, whether it's in our YouTube comments or our Discord or our Twitter. I would love to hear it. Next week for Watch Club, we are watching Lesbian Bear Storm. I'm not lying. That's what it's called. Otherwise, if you are here for our non-Watch Club content, in 2 weeks, we will be doing our review of the currently airing fall 20, I guess we'll be wrapping up, of the fall 2023 season. And then we are entering anime of the year mode. Cannot wait. It's my favorite time to do content. I love seeing what people rate their anime of the year. Otherwise, thank you, Miles, for joining me, and we will see you next time. Peace.